2025 has been a crazy year for credit cards. What with the Sapphire Reserve completely being revamped, the City Strata Elite and the Rakuten card being released, and even rumors that the Amex Platinum card is going to $895. And it seems with all these changes that we're all trending towards the same point, which is more credits, higher annual fees, and less usability for the average user over time. But everyone's kind of holding out for a new premium credit card that's not going to trend to what all of these other bigger banks are doing. And that's why there are 5 new cards of the next generation that are scheduled to come out over the next 12 months, one of which is scheduled to come out as soon as this month, August 2025. That's right, the Alaska Airlines premium credit card is set to come out in August, literally the month that you're watching this video in. And we have recently gotten new updates and details about what this card is going to look like as soon as it does launch. Like, for example, it's going to be coming with an annual fee of $395, matching that of the Capital One Venture X, and comes with a few different perks and benefits. One, which is the most powerful benefit that everybody's excited about, which is the Global Companion Award Certificate. So you guys know with some of these airline cards, when you have certificates, basically it's a buy one, get one free. So if I go on a Delta flight and I pay for one ticket, $300 cash, I could then get my spouse's ticket completely for free with this buy one, get one companion certificate. Well, typically that works on just a few classes and usually doesn't work towards other partner airlines, but this one specifically would be used towards anywhere around the globe, which leaves people wondering, like, is this going to be able to be used towards even partner airlines? Like, for example, we know that everyone's been transferring a lot of their miles to Alaska Airlines because they have some great partners within oneworld. So some people are speculating that you might be able to use this companion certificate not just on Alaska Airlines flights, which would be not that great. So some people are speculating that this certificate won't have to be used just on airlines flight. It could be used on all oneworld alliance partnership airlines as well. Meaning if I just wanted to use another oneworld partner, like maybe I use this global companion certificate on Japan Airlines, which is a oneworld partner, and you can book with Alaska Airline miles. Maybe I could book a Japan Airlines flight, pay for my ticket, and then get my wife's ticket completely for free on that specific airline. It doesn't ever have to be on Alaska Airlines, which leaves some other questions like, is this companion certificate also going to be used towards economy? Could it be used for first class? Could it be used for business class, premium economy? Who really knows? If it's premium economy and up and can be used towards one world partners, yeah, I think a lot of people would find a lot of value in this certificate alone. You're also going to be getting waived award ticket fees, which could be access to hundreds and hundreds of dollars in some cases. So that's actually pretty powerful and can easily pay back that $395 annual fee depending on the flights that you're taking. You're also going to be getting Alaska Air lounge passes as well, which typically you have to pay a fee to get in there normally. Accelerated pass to elite status, same day confirmed fee waivers, as well as getting 3x Alaska Airline miles back on foreign purchases outside of the US, which I'm not necessarily sure what that means for just foreign purchases. Could it just be any purchase outside of the US? If so, that's a 3x catch-all on a very strong currency like Alaska Airline miles. And then 3x miles back on dining, bars, nightclubs, and fast food restaurants. And this is a card that I did sign up for early access just to see if I could get this card, just exactly what it looked like. Now that we have a couple of more details, even though I did go on the wait list, just looking at how this card is looking right now, I think it actually can be fairly strong for the right traveler. Is this something I'm going to be jumping out at if it does release in this fashion? Probably not right away. Unless it did come with a welcome offer of like 100,000 Alaska Airline miles right off the bat, then yeah. The next card on our list, which is the Amex Marriott business cards, which is actually the most recent rumors that have been put out that we're going to get a new Marriott card. And some of you may know, but the rumors that we get in the entire credit card world basically are 99% accurate. Every single time, almost, that there has been a rumor in the credit card world, it always ended up being true. So I never actually worry about commenting on rumors because, like, once one time it didn't come true. And so there would be some changes to a couple of cards, but there would also be a new card released. One of the new cards in this rumor is that we would be possibly getting an Amex Marriott Bevy and Marriott Brilliant business variations. So you guys know we have the Marriott Brilliant card, 650 annual fee, comes with all these perks and benefits, free night certificate, and whatnot. And we know that the Bevy is kind of just a hit it and quit it kind of card, and most people don't really take it seriously. But the Marriott Brilliant is one that people do, and we may have a business version of this card, which would make sense because we have business versions of every other card like Hilton, we have Delta, we have the standard American Express cards, but we don't necessarily have a Marriott business, at least to this high degree. So the most interesting interesting one to me is the Brilliant Business Card. And this is one that's going to be coming with a $695 annual fee, thus matching the Amex Platinum Card. And we know, like we talked about in the intro earlier, there's no way that the Amex Platinum Card does not go to $895. There's no way they're going to allow every one of these other high annual fee co-branded American Express cards to be $695 and not let the Big Daddy Platy be the highest one. But some of the rumored changes are as followed. One, you're going to be getting an 85K free night award on card anniversary, which is the exact same that the Marriott Brilliant does come with, and also the Ritz-Carlton card, which typically, in my estimation, you can find hotels between, $6 and maybe $1,000 per night if you're lucky with this free night certificate. So it's definitely not bad. You're also going to be getting a $160 Marriott property credit per year, so $80 twice per year. So the way I would imagine this would be used is if you just go, let's say we use this 85K certificate, we go to stay at a property. Okay, maybe it's the Ritz-Carlton in Manhattan, New York. We have some butler service, and maybe I order to the room, $80 worth of food. Maybe it's breakfast, maybe it's dinner. Okay, cool. If I pay with my Marriott Brilliant card, that $80 credit is going to be used towards as a property credit. Or maybe I go to use the spa that's on site. Or maybe there's a spa on site and I charge an $80, shiatsu massage for that. Okay, cool. Bill that to the room, pay with the Brilliant card, and I'll get $80 back in the form of a statement credit. So I actually think that's a very usable credit, especially if you're traveling at least, twice a year towards a Marriott property. And I'm sure there's ways to kind of game this where you pay $80, towards your room folio, kind of like Hilton does with the Aspire. Maybe you can use the full 160 on one property, but I think one that you can use to enhance any stays is ones that I'm always excited about. You also get automatic platinum status, which is not bad. $120 transit credit, $10 per month. As we look with American Express, the transit category is actually fairly broad, so I'm assuming anything that would code towards that transit category will also be able to use towards that $10 per month, which I think for months that you are traveling, you definitely can make use of this. But I honestly probably compare this to like a rideshare credit where I really mostly use it when I'm traveling. Most of the times you'll get wasted. You also get $120 wireless credit, which could be interesting depending on what actually codes for wireless purchases. Priority Pass Select membership, which I believe if it does follow the Brilliant card, will allow a guest for free, which the same can't be said for the Venture X anymore. Global entry, TSA pre-check. Now, the most interesting thing about all of this, because it does have some multipliers, it has the free night certificate, all these different things. But actually, one thing, if you look up here, on the standard Marriott business card with the rumor changes, they have some key changes right here that they outline that I thought would be fairly interesting. So they mentioned a couple things like the Marriott business card that it exists today would no longer come with a 35K free night certificate, which is actually typical and exactly what we saw with the Hilton business card revamp when they got rid of their ability to earn a free night certificate with some spend. This one came automatically, so interesting that it would come away from that. But they said something right here, which is the addition of a 10% points discount. And that seems very interesting to me because typically when you have some of these cards, you can get discounts on stays, a certain amount of percentage money back when you're paying with cash, but never with points. And it reminds me of the Delta card lineup here. Like if we look at the gold card, if you have this, they have Delta Take Off 15, which essentially states that if you're using Delta miles completely to book one of your flights, you'll be getting 15% off, not the cash amount, but the miles amount. So if you have to spend 100,000 Delta miles to get this flight done, okay, now you just saved 15,000 miles with Delta Takeoff 15 because you have this card. Now, what I thought might be interesting if they're starting to experiment with this a bit more is if they do have like a Marriott Takeoff 10, something like that. So if I were to spend 100,000 points on a property, okay, cool, now it's no longer 100,000, now it's just 90,000. I saved 10,000 Marriott points. And by extension, if that was allowed to be kind of partnered with these other cards like the Brilliance business card as well, or just the Marriott swath of cards as a whole with Chase or American Express. I think that would be fairly interesting. Even if this did translate over to the Hilton side, I mean, even more infinitely powerful. But with this card, honestly, I have to think about it. It's not the most exciting, but it really does not hold a candle to the next credit card that I think might come out in the next year, which is the new World of Hyatt premium credit card. Now, this is a credit card that has been talked about for honestly the last couple of years now, and some people are still holding out hope, myself included. But I really think if the surveys are true and it really does come out how some people imagine it will be, I think this is a card a lot of people would find extremely, extremely valuable. For example, the proposed annual fee comes in a few different tiers: 250, 350, 450. I think some people mostly assume it's going to be a 450 annual fee, especially since all these banks, all these credit cards want to be premium nowadays. So they really want to go to the highest end if they're going to do it, and especially if they want to get the most amount of money back possible, especially if they want to compete in the premium card segment going forward. But it comes with a couple of interesting perks. One more specifically is the annual Cat 1 to 5 certificate instead of 1 to 4. Now, it may seem small, just the difference of a Cat 4 to a Cat 5 for Hyatts, but if you look right here, I was recently trying to book some hotels over in Japan, and I have a category 1 to 4, my standard World of Hyatt credit card, that it's very, very hard, in fact, impossible to find in certain cases, or at least where I've been traveling, 1 to 4 hotels. And while they do exist in most of the countries, they're not in the ones that I'm going to. And at least for Japan that I've been trying to book recently, there are actually a few more category 5s that I would love to book with this certificate that actually could be way more usable than the Cat 1 to 4. Now, is the 1 to 5 the most amazing cert? No. And I do think there are rumors out there that maybe it would be a higher tier card and it would come to a Cat 1 to 7. I mean, looking at the list in Japan, I mean, it's just so much more usable if it was 1 to 7. But one of the more interesting things that I think could happen on this card that I guess was on these surveys was the ability to actually combine certificates. So if you have maybe a Cat 1 to 4 cert or a higher value certificate, you can double them up and give you a Cat 1 to 6 or a Cat 1 to 8. And forget it. If they were able to combine two 1 to 4 Cat certificates and combine them to a 1-8, I mean, Jesus. That would be one of the most infinitely powerful cards on the market today if this was the only way you were able to combine those certificates. Oh yeah, all day long. I would let my wife keep that World of Hyatt standard card. I would go and apply for one, and every year we would have a Cat 1 to 8 that would be worth easily $1 to $2,000 in hotel value. Even if it was a 1 to 6, like two 1 to 4 is equal to 1 to 6, I would be on board. 1 to 6 is getting me at least a $500 to $800 hotel, I would say, for a Cat 6, depending when you're going. That would easily outweigh the annual fee for me, and that would put it on the same level as a free night certificate to me as like the Ritz Carlton card as far as free night certificate is concerned. They also mentioned the ability to extend certificates via spend or flat 5,000 point fee. So if you can't use it all in like a 1 year basis, if you have to extend it by a couple months, maybe that's how you're able to extend that. I don't think they mean extend the certificate as far as, pushing the category. They also mentioned statement credits for Hyatt stays or on-premise expenses like food and beverage credit. That would be freaking amazing if like the Marriott card, like they mentioned, $160 usable property credit. Like if the Hyatt premium card came with like $150 yearly Hyatt property credit, that would be absolutely amazing because you would just be able to book breakfast or book some dinner at the on-site restaurant, and that'd be very, very, very usable for sure. And also $25,000 worth of spend to get an additional Cat 1 to 5 certificate instead of the 15K spend. So increasing $10,000 to get a higher annual certificate, which I think some people might go for. But then again, why not just get a Hilton Surpass card, spend 15K, and get a way better free night certificate? That I agree with. And while most of these are all hotel cards, what about for cards for renting or even paying your own mortgage? Well, we know that BILT Reward has introduced 3 new cards, including being able to earn points on mortgage payments coming very, very soon. So this is all guaranteed, confirmed, with a few new changes that has come out for 2026. More specifically, BILT is going to be dropping Wells Fargo for being able to issue their credit cards. It is now going to be hitting the cardless platform to be able to issue some of these new cards, which would include a no annual fee card, so a $0 annual fee card like our normal BILT card, a $95 BILT card, and a $4.95 annual fee BILT card. So again, all going towards this premium segment. And as we mentioned in the intro, as most of these cards wanting to introduce credits and whatnot, the CEO, Anchor Jane, said that the new premium card at $4.95 would not be going in the direction of the other premium cards that have chosen to go in terms of super high fees with a bunch of coupons, as quoted right here. And while BILT hasn't necessarily commented on the reward structure and all the benefits that are coming with it, we do know that a survey went out many, many months ago, about 6 months ago, as we could see right here, that I did live going through all these options with everybody in the live chat, and we saw a couple of the different iterations. Like for the no annual fee options, our standard BILT card, it might be changing. We might now just be getting Forex back on BILT Dining, Walgreens, and Lyft, 1x back catch all, and 1x back on rent and mortgage payments. The main thing being that you can actually earn points directly without going through a couple of tricks to being able to pay your mortgage directly with no issues and get 1x back on all of that with via BILT points. Also, for a $95 option, we can see right here, it comes with a few different credits, which includes $170 total in partner credits, which will be broken down in $50 in BILT hotels, which is like the Sapphire Preferred $50 hotel credit. Also, $60 to Walgreens, which you can go to a Walgreens. You could see a lot of them nowadays actually have a BILT sign in their window. So you could pay for medication and whatnot, or whatever you would buy in Walgreens, like paper towels or toilet paper. You could possibly use that and get $60 back, and then $60 in BILT fitness. I think this 110 right here is actually fairly usable, and that would justify that $95 annual fee, depending on how easy to use that $50 BILT hotel credit. And it would come with a few multipliers, like 5x back on BILT dining, Walgreens, Lyft, hotels through BILT, 2x dining, 2x grocery, 2x gas, which would be fairly strong. And then the proposed $550 annual fee option, which I guess they dropped it to $495, I guess seeing all their competitors. And the $495 option, if it stands like the survey, is going to come with $380 in partner credits, 120 BILT fitness, which most people, I don't think, unless you're in New York, are getting value from, $60 again in Walgreens, which matches the 95 option, and $200 BILT hotels, and also comes with a priority pass membership. If it just came out with that alone, I don't think people would be jumping for joy to get that card. In fact, I think you kind of cannibalize your core audience by having this $95 option, because most people who have the BILT card really just want to earn on rent, or if they can get a multiplier back on their mortgage payments. And so if you have a $95 option, you really don't even need credits. If it just came with the mortgage, that would easily pay that $95 annual fee many, many times over. And so if you have a card that can't really justify that $495 annual fee with some of these credits, well, then everyone's just going to go for the 95 fee option and just kind of go from there. And I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on the proposed changes with the BILT card or the new cards they may come out with. But unlike the BILT card that has kind of been in your face, and we have seen a lot of people talk about it over the past 6 months, one card has flew completely under the radar, that being the Capital One Savor X. And this is one that really came around for such a short amount of time, but there was a lot of surveys posted, especially on Doctor of Credit, that noted a possible new card, which is the Savor X, which would come with a $295 annual fee and would come with a few different things, like 4x back on dining and entertainment, which would be 1x back more than the Savor card that is a $0 annual fee today, 3x back on groceries, which matches the Savor card today at $0, 10x back on hotels and car rentals booked through the travel portal, 10x back on entertainment, 1x everything else, but it would come with a few credits in typical fashion. Annual $100 Capital One travel credit. So I'm assuming if you go through the portal, you could pay with your Savor X and get $100 back in form of a statement credit. Okay, cool. I think it's fairly similar to the Capital One Venture X's statement credit of $300. You'll also be getting an annual $100 dining credit to spend at a collection of the best restaurants. Example, Michelin starred hotspots. And yeah, I do think if it is a yearly $100 credit, like when I went to the Michelin star restaurant over in DC, full bill was about $300. I was able to get some credits back for the hotel itself, like $150. If I was able to pay with my Savor X and get $100 back, I could have reduced that entire $300 bill closer to maybe a $100 out of pocket for one of the best meals and experiences we've ever had. So I think that could be usable in some cases, but how often are we really eating at Michelin star restaurants? Am I gonna really want to be trying to go to them once a year? Probably not really, but maybe it doesn't have to be Michelin star. Maybe it could just be within Capital One dining collection, what have you. Like we see so many of these cards, like the Chase Sapphire Reserve or the BILT card, want to have their own dining collections now. It also comes with an annual $120 credit at Starbucks, which I'm assuming is $10 every single month, and this would directly rival the Amex Gold cards, $7 Dunkin' credits every single month, so 84 per year. So I think Starbucks might be a little bit more usable than Dunkin' in some cases, but I don't drink coffee. I don't go to these places, so I don't know what most people do. You also get complimentary Apple TV membership, which we know has now come standard with the new Sapphire Reserve, so that kind of beats it out a little bit there, and complimentary Uber One membership. And so about $320 in maybe usable credits to offset this $300 annual fee for multipliers that honestly are very similar to that of a $0 saver. Again, is it a card that I'll be jumping at? Maybe, maybe not, probably not, unless it came with, again, maybe 100,000 point welcome offer that could be converted to my venture miles and then send them out to transfer partners. Sure, I mean, I could hit it and quit it for sure. But speaking of cards that may or may not come into fruition, we also have the US Bank Altitude Reserve. And we do know that this is a card that has been out for many years and it was a fan favorite, but recently did have major changes that have nerfed some of the key benefits that are on this card. And some of the main perks were earning like 3x back on mobile wallet, essentially being a catch-all card for any store that takes mobile wallet. That used to be uncapped, and now they have a cap of $5,000 per month, which is really still not that bad. 5,000 per month is a lot of money, but definitely not infinite like it used to be. So I think that actually makes sense as a nerf. And then also the redemption value on all of those points used to be valued at 1.5x via real-time rewards, and now that has been changed to just 1 cent per point, meaning those 3x purchases that used to be 4.5x back with that 1.5 multiplier are now just 3x back on mobile wallet. And also the $325 travel credit and dining credit has now been changed to where you can now no longer use it towards any dining purchases. This was like restaurants and what have you. You can no longer use it for that, and now it's just travel, but not general travel as it used to be. Now it's through the US Bank travel portal. And so, with some of these changes that we've been seeing, it just left me thinking that maybe this card is actually going to be re released to the public just at these lower tiers. And it's going to be taking effect December 15th, 2025. So just a few more months of these elevated benefits. But I'm just thinking maybe after these changes, because maybe this card wasn't as profitable as they once think, and that's kind of why they pulled it from the general market and maybe nerfed it, that if with these nerfs, maybe they'll find that they will be profitable and they'll relaunch again a premium credit card, that being a $400 US Bank Altitude Reserve. But with all these new cards that are proposed and ones that are going to be releasing this month or even the next year, or maybe not at all, you might be wondering which is the best premium credit card out on the market today that you can get today. So if you want to check out this video here, I ranked from S to F tier all of the premium credit cards, most of them, to help you make a decision on which premium card might be worth it to you. So check out that video. I hope you get some value from it. Join the Discord down in the pinned comment below completely for free. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for being able to the end. I appreciate every single one of you. Take care and travel, baby.